Alright, so there's a million different chocolate cake videos where people say that they made the ultimate chocolate cake. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I made the ultimate chocolate cake, but this is a pretty damn good one. So, let's get started. Like all great recipes, we're going to start out with a stick of unsalted butter, then I'm going to add some Dutch processed cocoa powder, some espresso powder, and then I'm going to pour in some water. I'm going to put this all in a small saucepan, and this is going to go over medium heat until it's completely melted and combined. Now, the chocolate that I'm melting in this recipe is semi-sweet chocolate. I'm using the mini chocolate chips. It's just easier to melt that way. And I'm going to take my hot chocolate that's nice and smooth, take it off the heat, and while it's still hot, I'm going to pour it over my chocolate chips. After sitting for about 3 minutes, I'm just going to take a small whisk and mix this up. Make sure that there's no chunks of chocolate in here. Next, I'm going to combine my dry ingredients. This is a cup of all-purpose flour, and that's baking powder, some salt, and I'm using iodized salt, not sea salt, and then some baking soda. And I'm just going to whisk this up a little bit. Sifting here is not necessary. And then I'm going to take my eggs, some granulated sugar, and some light brown sugar, and I'm going to take a little bit of vanilla, use good pure vanilla extract for this, and I'm going to start blending this with my electric mixer. Now go ahead and keep going until your batter doubles in volume and it's a nice pale color. This took about 5 minutes on high speed. Next, I'm going to add my dry ingredients. Now, when I was making this, I was adding a little bit of everything at a time, mainly because I just didn't want it going everywhere, but I have made this recipe again since then, and I just dumped everything all at once, and it wasn't a problem. So just go ahead, don't be afraid to just put it all in there. I'm going to continue mixing this with my electric mixer, and every once in a while, don't be afraid to scrape down the sides with a spatula. You want to make sure all your ingredients are incorporated and there's no chunks of flour or anything. And don't be afraid about overmixing this batter. It's pretty flexible, and just keep mixing until it's smooth. I'm pouring this into a 9-inch round baking pan that's been lined and greased with parchment. And if you don't own cake strips, I definitely recommend getting them. They will help your cake bake more evenly, and you won't get that dome top. The thing is, though, you're supposed to put it on the pan before you pour the batter in, so my mistake. But I tapped out the air bubbles, and that went into a 325-degree oven for 35 to 40 minutes. And I'm just going to let that cool for 10 minutes in the pan, and then it's time to take it out. I just ran a butter knife around the sides, and that's it. And you only need to make one layer cake, because look at how thick this is. It's thicker than Prisoner of Azkaban. Okay, so while that cools, we're going to make some icing. I'm going to take some softened unsalted butter here. I'm going to add my Dutch processed cocoa powder. I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla, and I'm going to start blending this. Now with this, you don't want to add all of your ingredients at once because they will go all over the kitchen, and we do not want that. I'm going to start adding a little bit of my powdered sugar in here, and if you've ever made icing before, you know that it gets a lot of powdered sugar, so this is going to take a little while. So I'm just adding it a little bit at a time. If you see that it's getting a little too thick, go ahead and add about a tablespoon of milk at a time until it's at the right consistency for you. I pre-measured everything, so as long as you follow the recipe, it should come out just fine. And once the icing actually looks like icing, we're going to add a pinch of sea salt to this. And this is going to add a very subtle hint of flavor, but it makes all the difference. And that's it. It's all done. And now that the cake is completely cooled, it's time to add our icing. Now, I do decorate cakes for a living, so when I'm decorating at home, I'm pretty lazy. So this is just me slapping some icing onto a cake, just spreading it on the top, not doing anything fancy. And that's about it. I'm not going to go crazy with the decorations, except I'm just going to put on some fruit on top because fruit on top of a chocolate cake is just great. I'm putting on some fresh raspberries here and some mint for the leaves. And like I said, just not getting fancy. So you can do whatever you want. This part is completely optional to you. I just like berries with some of my desserts. But anyway, that's it. It's all done. Time to cut ourselves a slice. I'm going to start out with a slice without the berries, mainly because it's cleaner and I just want to get a nice shot for the video, but you know I'm going to be digging into the rest of this later. So anyway, there it is. There's our cake. And guys, this, for me, is the best chocolate cake I ever had. And I guess it's more of a devil's food cake than a regular chocolate cake, but you know what? It's chocolate, it's cake, it's chocolate cake. And with this second bite here, I just wanted to try it without the icing. And on its own, it's just great. But you should make the icing too. It goes very well with this. And the texture is awesome. It is dense and fudgy, but it's also fluffy. It's just a perfect combo of everything. So make this for someone's birthday. Make this for yourself. Just make it if you love chocolate. Go all out. Forget about your diet. Tell the gym you'll be back next week. Alright guys, I hope you all enjoyed this one. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.